sound guy won't touch a lighting guy's lead.
Right.
So there's total, it's really together, but it's not. If you've got to move a road case over a sound guy's road case on stage over a lighting guy's lead, you can't move the lead. The lighting guy's got to come and move the lead. Right. And then but anyway, at the end of it, they came on and helped us off with our gear, which apparently they never do.
Right.
But yeah, man, it was just incongruous. Wow. Absolutely incongruous.
You know what the bands don't have to do anymore is lug the, remember that? We had to be there at like 4 or 2 in the afternoon, take time off, and then lug in that heavy.
Man, we had a road crew. Seriously, after our first year, of playing, we went from just being a garage band on the Gold Coast to working 5, 6, and 7 nights a week. And between here, Brisbane, Toowoomba, Byron, North Coast, and man, it was killing us. We had our own 3-ton truck, and we virtually went straight to hiring a double 4-way. For the young kids, double 4-ways had bottom end speakers the size of a tank, and man, we just couldn't do it anymore. So from that point on, we had a 3-man road crew, took out a permanent hire with budget for a 4-ton truck, got a walk-in sound guy, and proceeded down the mine shaft into rock and roll.
Unreal. That's what I mean. That whole industry, you actually hired people, you paid for trucks.
We made nothing, but, we paid everybody else.
But there's a lot of industry that's missing. Like when I used to work for Lock and Load in Sydney. And there's, crewing companies, typical crewing companies. No one does that anymore. Like
that's right, man.
That whole...
With the exception of Jans and...
Yeah, no one knows a roadie anymore. There's no...
Well, they go to university.
Yeah.
My best mate's son is now into his second year of a course that will qualify him as a lighting tech and a sound tech as well as a stage, and he'll come out and just probably waltz, because he's good at what he does and he's got a passion for it, he'll come out and waltz straight into a really cool gig without having to start as just a bloody a lugger.
Right.
So yeah, man, what we were talking about before, shit's changed.
Yeah. Lighter speakers too.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. It was a fun time to be alive, man. It was, there was an innocence to excess.
Yeah.
The frequency of violence. That's the thing that weirds me out about today. Just the amount of ugly aggro out there. Just in social circumstances. I'm not even talking about domestic violence or any of the other, the mass shootings or whatever else it might be. I'm just talking about going out for a night and the frequency of blues and that sort of shit. The worst you could ever expect then would be a fist fight between 2 guys at the end of the night.
Yeah.
And it'd be pretty well all over.
Yeah.
Within a matter of minutes.
And it happened all the time, but it didn't dwell in our minds.
That's
it was
right,
like,
man.
Clearly they're just drunk. Like
That's right.
It happened every night.
It wasn't getting stabbed in the neck with a broken stubby waiting for a cab by somebody you don't even know.
Yeah.
This whole king hit shit. Oh, sorry, coward punch. Fuck that. King hit. Let's call it what it is. They're cowards, but it's a king hit. That's what it is. Yeah. Man, that, that was considered so out of line that if you did that somewhere, I'm sure that most of your mates would very soon become not your mates at all.
Yeah, ostracised from the tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very different.
We had scruples, mate. We had bloody scruples. Morals and scruples.
Wow. But yeah, fights were everywhere. Honestly, all the time. But we didn't think about them.
What year is this, man? When are we talking?
Okay, well...
early 90s?
I left school in 89, so I was at pubs from 89. But it's like if you were to play at the Springwood pub, like a typical suburban.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
maybe not like.
We used to do gigs in Ipswich,
in a city,
Caesars like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was a different vibe where someone you kind of know is looking at your
or
girl.
Caesars at Underwood, man.
That's it. That turned into Rogues. Yeah.
It was roguish from the outset. Man.
Yeah.
And then you'd go and do funny little gigs like Waterford.
Yeah, that was my first gig.
Really? The
very
Waterford
first show,
Tavern?
yeah. And in the first show, the Waterford Tavern. Funny you say that.
Man.
I'm going to, I can't tell you. But the band I was in just now, I can't tell you because I promised I'd tell
Don't.
tell someone else this afternoon live on air. This massive news, but I was in this band, Class Dismissed with a K. Yeah, you like that?
And with an SS motif for the dismissed bit?
No, with an
SS?
ST.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
dismissed.
Yeah, but it was, we're only 16 too. They had to bring us through the back.
You were a child star, mate.
Oh, well, it was, here we are playing this stuff. In the second song, the whole crowd went outside because a guy was belting another guy with a piece of 4x2 timber. The guy lost his eye, and the reason we know that was in the paper. The very next weekend, we played there again, and he was at the gig with a eye patch on, and and all these stitches. He lost his eye, but he was there drunk as the next week.
And still some corneal fluid dribbling down his cheek.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It was more like a great story to tell people. It wasn't like, oh my god, this place is crazy. It's full of ice heads or something, and this is. It was more like just some drunken behaviour, and you still aren't in any
danger.
Mm. Remember when there were in that time for me. You'd finish work. I had a combi van. We'd all load the gear in the combi van, and leaving the driveway was this feeling of freedom. No one knew where we were going. We were a band, all of us in this combi going, yeah, we are.
Yep.
We're doing it. No one knows where we are now until we get to the destination and the lights come on, and then we're that act. And there's this whole sort of mystery.
Yeah.
Well, who are these guys?
Yeah,
I heard about them from the last show. There was no Twitter crap going out.
Yep.
And I'd only heard about this band. That's like my sister would, she would say, the Mansfield Tavern, here comes the Radiators or something, and it was only due to that one thing you'd see on Countdown every Sunday.
Did a lot of gigs with the Rads, did about 5 or 6 shows with the Rads over that 10-year period.
Yeah.
Did a classic at Bundaberg, mate, one night for New Year's Eve. There was the Rads as the headline act, then the Johnnies before them, us before the Johnnies, and 2 Brisbane bands. It pissed down on the night. This is at a speedway, at the Bundaberg Speedway.
Oh, yeah, I know that one.
You know it well, mate.
Yeah.
Pissed down. So it was rained off. We'd got about halfway through our set, and then they just called it. So the lay day was the next day. We went back to the motel room and got on it with Spencer and the boys from the Johnnies, big time.
They're from Melbourne, yeah.
Well, they were in Sydney then.
Were they? Okay.
They were in Sydney. But so anyway, we got on it, had a huge night, and then went to the gig at lunchtime on the New Year's Day. Man, once again, we got our set completely done. The Johnnies got their set just about done, and then it bucketed down again, and it was called off, and the Rads didn't even get to play. Their PA was ruined.
Whoa.
They had to dry it out in Bombay Rock for 2 days, which coincided with Bombay closing for 2 days. Wow. And they never even got to play. And we were driving around the speedway in our Tarago, sitting up out of the sunroof, yelling out, doing donuts and just basically losing control. That was a fun gig.
Wow. There's gonna be a show.
There's gonna be a show, mate. They were, and look, the drummer Billy Palmer had come from the Gold Coast, so there was always a real tangible sort of love for the Johnnies from the Coast crew.
Okay, yeah, right.
Yeah, he'd been a Gold Coast boy and the most insanely good drummer.
They always wore cowboy hats, right?
Yeah, man.
Never saw them over.
They were cowpunks of the first order.
Yeah.
The prototypical cowpunk band. In fact, Jason and the Scorchers made some reference to him in a Rolling Stone or a Spin interview back in the day. That one of them mentioned that we'd heard of and seen this band, the Johnnies, on a video clip or something. Man, they were a really cool band. Yeah. Just rock and roll, but with Stetsons and shit and lots of beer and
yeah. So you're in the studio now. Yeah.
With you?
You record. Oh, yeah. But
man, we've been doing, myself and my musical cohort, who I had the really funny mate. He was in both my first 2 bands, and he was older than the 3 of us. Way more committed, focused, mature, on time, sober, the whole shit. So he sacked him. And anyway, I did the same thing in my second band, and for whatever reason, we've remained friends, and to the point now, my age, he's one of my closest friends in the entire world. But for the last 10 years, We've just been recording stuff in the studio, and we're about to release some of it. And I've got a guy taking care of that because neither of us have a clue about iTunes or anything else.
Right.
So we're going to put out a little bundle of 6 songs first up, and then whatever happens after that.
Yeah. What's the name of the act? Yeah, isn't it funny when you talk about your own band name or?
Yeah, well, it's called Dexter Pendleton's Trainwreck. Dexter Pendleton, I guess, being a nom de plume for yours truly.
That's all right. Really?
And the fact that my life's been an enjoyable but protracted train wreck. Ask the ex-missus, she'll tell you. Yeah, so it's...
In her ivory tower. No, okay.
Oh, God.
I didn't mean to start
play this to my daughter now.
Don't.
No, she's cool. But... Yeah, so it's out country meets country rock meets blues. Hard to put a finger on it entirely, man. But
you don't have to. It's just
tracks
songs that just come out, right?
Yeah.
At the end of this, we'll play some songs from it.
Okay.
Well, you know the reason, I only just found out about that. I think it's really cool. There, no doubt, in your life was probably the same as mine. Like I played rhythm guitar in these bands.
Oh, you're infinitely more talented than I am, man.
No, not at all. But did you go through this? Oh, I got old, and then why am I doing that for a little while? And then something knocks you on the shoulder, going, no, I actually need to keep this music happening because it makes me feel good. And I've said this before on this show that it's important to produce stuff, like actually produce stuff. Who cares if people listen to it? Like it's actually great. You're doing something for a reason.
It's cathartic and it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
But look, I got to be honest. I did original music for the 80s, and then I was told that I had to give up life for 18 months and get well so I wouldn't die. Then I joined my first covers band, which was an 11-piece soul R&B thing. That lasted for 6 years.
Singing, right?
Singing, yeah, with 3 chicks and the full brass section keys, and that was a shift, man, too, because went from playing with self-taught rock and roll post-punk guys through to playing with conservatorium trained.
Wow. That's the life I'm in now.
Top flight musos. So that was a hoot. Then I opened myself and my best friend opened the Doghouse in Broadbeach, which is now called East.
Wow.
Where I had the little house, which was it's the classic dream of anybody in a band, surely, to have your own bar where you're playing in the house band and that sort of shit. So we did that for 3 years. And then I played in a little trio doing sort of like cabaret jazz and sort of like half serious piss takes on Dean Martin and all of that sort of shit, which I loved. Yeah. And that lasted till about 2005 or something. And then, even though I lost the desire to go and play live, I never lost the desire to play, which is really good, man, because we get together once, twice a week, write, play, dick around, and have no pressure about turning up for gigs.
Right.
And the worst part at this age, obviously, not so much this age, but this part of your musical journey is that you go back to lugging yourself and all of that sort of stuff, which, frankly...
Yeah. I'm living this strange life right now where I'm in this cover band. Like I just, maybe like you, always you do your 40-minute set.
Yeah.
Your original band stuff. It's all about the rock and roll and nothing else,
Yeah.
But now I'm in this band with these great musicians who have been playing covers their entire life.
Yep.
I find it really interesting because you're actually trying to learn a Radiator song.
Yeah, and they're tight as.
Yeah, and it's actually, that's where I find the fun is.
I'm coming home, babe.
Oh, isn't that good? Yeah, but it's a fine line between cheeseball. These, and we actually, we argue a bit about the dorkiest things like that.
But that's healthy.
It's healthy, but it's definitely not in the cruise mode that I'd wish it was at times. Okay. Sometimes it's like, you didn't learn the words to that Pink song. I'm like, oh, damn. You know what I mean? That's what I'm getting at. So it's
I dig Pink.
Oh yeah, she's a rock and roller.
But as a you know,
she's a performer. She doesn't use tricks.
She's also a good role model, I think, for chicks.